Good morning. My name is John Duncan. I'm the marketing manager for our PC-based Adroit Ignite HMI software. Thank you for making the time and join us on our webinar today. Please contact me on the numbers listed in the chat if you have any comments or questions. Our agenda today is based on a brief introduction to the Adroit HMI package, followed by the application launcher where we launch our product. We will then break away from the presentation where we will show you the HMI demo, the built-in demo that comes with the package. And then we will come back to the presentation where we will show you from first principles how to get started by creating a new configuration, adding tags, scanning tags, creating projects and graphic forms, etc. Let's begin.
John, there's no sound.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Let's start again. If you haven't already downloaded the software, please go visit our website, adroitscada.com, and you can download the software by clicking on the Download Ignite Software button. You will be prompted to fill in a form, and once you have done, you will receive another page which you'll be able to download the software and the associated documentation from there. Once you install it, you'll be up and running, and if you need any help, we'll be there to gladly assist. So let me give you a brief introduction as to the definition of the components that make up the Adroit Ignite HMI software. First of all, from a data layer perspective, your front-end devices. Now, Adroit can connect to over 100 different front-end devices, be it PLCs, IoT devices, RTUs, etc., etc. So that's basically all your field equipment that will feed information into the plant. The next level is what we call our agent server. And inside the agent server, this is now responsible for housing all the agents, and it'll do all the scanning, the alarming, and the data log of all the agents concerned. Agents in this case, you'd maybe be more familiar with the expression scan points or tags. I will explain what an agent is a little bit later on in the presentation. Associated with the agent server is the Ignite server, which is the graphic interface and houses all the data sources, etc., etc. So these two work hand in hand. And on top of that, we have the client layer, which is split into two. We've got the designer, where you do all your graphical design and your database design. And you've got your operator, which is then your presentation layer. Okay, the different ones, you have an operator, or you can have a performance anywhere, which runs on a tablet or an iPhone or an Android phone. You have Adroit Air that would run on a mobile, both iPhone and Android device. And then there's web clients you can connect over the web. So basically, if we have a look at all the different device drivers that we have, as I said earlier, we have over 100 different built-in devices, and all drivers come standard with the package, except for the Siemens Ethernet, the Allen Bradley Ethernet, and the DMP, which require an additional OEM license. So agents, as I said, these are intelligent objects, and they are split into various categories. We have primitive, basic, advanced, MES, IT, and system agents. Today, we'll be focusing on the analog agent and the digital agent. So what is an agent? As I said, you get different types of agents. We get analog, digital, we get counters. An instance is an actual, let's say, the mixing level. So you would give it a name. So that would be your name. So it would be associated with either a digital or an analog. And then the intelligence behind it, when it becomes a tag, it's the name dot slot. Now there's various slots that you can associate with your tag, be it the value or the raw value or the engineering minimum, engineering maximum value that you can display or alarm in your system. And then obviously the full one would be a data element, which would be your source, the type, the name, and the slot. Okay, so in summary, basically, agents do not only store data, but they have intelligence. They know how to manipulate data. In other words, an agent therefore contains data and the operations with which to manipulate it. Okay, so it is an intelligent tag. It's an intelligent device. Okay. So having had a brief overview, let's show you how to actually launch the product. Once you install the software, you'll get the application launcher on your desktop. And on clicking it, you will pop up this little window, which would give you, this is what we call the application launcher. And from here, we can actually run our demo, or we can run our licensing utility. In order to get you up and running, you need a license to run the software. This is where we start our agent server, as we explained earlier. That's the engine behind the whole thing. You can then run and start the operator and the designer. You can configure agents as a separate entity from here or within the designer. And then you can go to the config editor, which is where all your basic setup is then done. Part and parcel of the Adroit Ignite HMI software, we have built-in utilities where we can actually have a look at, we can browse through all our agents. We can monitor the driver, so you can test and troubleshoot your front-end device driver. There's a scanning monitor. So this is more for the experienced user. There's the agent server monitor, where you could diagnose and troubleshoot actually what's happening within there. We have a built-in simulator, which is called the OPC batch simulator, which we will be using as part of our demo and part of our presentation today. And then there's an OPC browser and an OPC server, which we can expose tags to clients, etc., etc. Accompanying the Adroit HMI is documentation. We have a quick start guide, an explanation on how the demo works, and another document which will explain how to do bulk configuration of your agents using Microsoft Excel. Okay, so let's without any further ado, let's run the demo and show you what the final product would look like. So we would run the demo. The demo is going to start a configuration called Ignite Demo, and we just start it from here. By clicking on that button, we actually start both the agent server and the Ignite server. And once they are up and running, they will then start the operator. So we've got a complete view into our SCADA package. So we're healthy. The operator is now starting up. And we are now in the demo. So basically, we have a menu system on top, which is free to program. And we can have a view at our batching plant as a SCADA style kind of graphic form, where we can start, reset the plant, change to automatic. So if we just basically click on our start button, you will see on the left hand side of the screen the process will start running, and we'll fill our little batching tank. Basically from feeder A, we are now in feeder B. As you see, tooltips appear when we hover over certain pieces of equipment. We can then click on these little boxes here where we've got more tooltips. You can click, you can change set points from here. We can actually click on this button again, and we can bring up a trend. And these are all freely programmable entities. These are templates and wizards that we can use. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have an alarm list. And on the right-hand side, we have multiple trends that we are showing here. Okay, the alarm reset. There's multiple alarms that have been built into our little simulation package. So we've got errors that can come in so we can monitor our alarms, etc., through the whole process. Okay, so this is a kind of look and feel, a SCADA style look and feel. What we have also done is developed HMI style graphics, which is giving you a more of a sort of HMI feel to the whole thing, which is exactly running on the same simulator process as we have. And also from here, we can change set points. Change that one down to 4. We can reset the alarm. We can carry on with the plant. We can see basically things are happening here. We can have a look on the trend window, pop up little trends, etc. So from here as well, you can actually, there's also, there's a bottling plant that we can actually have a look at, different ways of viewing things. We can have a look at a conveyor system, which is also part of the simulation package. And we can view our alarm screen. We can highlight here, highlight the alarms, do an acknowledge. And those that are not present will be taken away from the list. From here, we can even go into our designer mode. You can click on our designer, and then you are free to have a look at how the whole demo system was configured, make changes, and run it accordingly. Just log in with the default operator. So basically what we have here, we have our projects on our side here under the Enterprise Manager. And under our project, which was called ABC Spice, we have a batching project, and we can have a look at the batching plant. And this is the batching plant, and we can see how things were configured here by clicking on any of the tags. You can have a look at the smart tag at the top right-hand corner. You'll be able to view how these animation is actually done on these particular mimics. Okay. So let us break away from this demo. We'll shut it down. And we will then carry on. And I'll show you what we have planned today. So today we want to take you through first principles of how to create a new configuration, add a device driver, and do some basic animation from first principles on the graphic forms. Okay, I have a series of videos included in here, which we will going to play through for you now. But basically, this is our batch simulator. So it is a very powerful and very easy to use. As I said, there's multiple simulations built into here, as we have on the screen here at the moment. We have the batching plant. We also have a conveyor and a turbine, which are free to use. You can program, play with them. This is a great learning tool. It helps you with the configuration, so you can test things without having to do any live plant interaction. And it's also lovely for testing your program and for training purposes. We use this exclusively on our training courses. So today we're going to focus on creating controls for the automatic start, for the resetting of alarms. We'll display the batch weight, and we'll also display the heating temperature of the mixing tank, as well as controlling the set point. Okay, so these are the ones that we've taken from the simulator, and we will develop a mimic or a graphic form to show you how those things are configured. So what we will end up with, this is our sort of final picture that we will come up with. We will add control buttons for starting the batch and resetting the alarms. We are going to display the mixing tank temperature set point and actual values and adjust the set point from here. We will then add an alarm viewer so we can see all the alarms that are present in the system. We will then add a trend or a line chart in this case for the mixing tank temperature and set point and actual values, so you can control them and view them. And we'll also animate a tank to show you an actual level. Okay, so let's get started with this. Let's create a new configuration. From here, we will go into the config editor. And we will start a new configuration. So we allow multiple configurations, and standard is the default, but we will now create a new one called test 1. Okay. Once that is done, we can say OK, and then we will then create a front-end device driver. So we will be using our built-in batch simulator. So we'll click on the protocol driver, we'll say add, and we will call this one batch test. Okay, it'll prompt you to put in the OPC server. In our case, it's the batch OPC server, and click OK. And we are there, we are done. So now that we've configured an initial configuration, we will now launch the package. The application launcher from the icon on the desktop. And from inside here, we can then start the agent server. We can monitor the agent server's progress. And once completely loaded, it will then launch the Ignite server. Which we can monitor here. Once up and running, we can then start the designer. Log in with the default login credentials. And there we are. So what we want to do now is create our 2 digital tags, which are going to start our batch system and reset our alarm. Once we're in the designer environment, we can open our agent configurator. And this is where we add, scan, alarm, and log all our agents. So from the type, these are all the various types of agents that we have in the system. We are going to now click on digital, and we're going to add a digital tag called start batch. We're going to add a description. Process. We can add it, and there we have it in there. And now we're going to scan it. And first of all, we need to choose the device that we're going to scan it to. In our case, it's called batch test, which we created earlier. And we are going to choose the address that we're going to attach it to from our simulator. And this one is going to say auto start. We're going to give it a scan rate, and we're going to enable the output, and we are going to start our simulator, and we're going to scan it. And that's it, created. We shall now create another one for the alarm reset. We will add, and same again, we will scan. Start the device, and we will attach it to the tag called alarm reset. We will enable this output as well, as we are going to set the tag from the operator. Remember to save the configuration, and that's that done. Having done the digital tags, now let's have a look at how you use and configure analog agents. And we're going to be creating a set point and an actual for the mixing tank temperature. In this step, I will show you how to add, scan, alarm, and log analog agents. So we'll choose analog from our type pull-down list, and we'll first of all give it a name. In this case, we're going to be doing the mixing temperature set point. We'll give it a description. And we will add it. We will then, in this time, we will edit, and we will have a look at the device span. In our case, we will give it 4096, and our engineering span, we will give it up to 45 degrees. Give it the high alarm. We'll set the high alarm at 42. Sorry, the high alarm will be set at 25. The low alarm will be set at 10, and the low will be set at 4. Update, and click OK. Scan. We will then start the device again, and we will link it to our target temperature in our simulator. We will enable the output, and we will scan it. Okay, we shall add another mixing tank, the process variable this time, the actual set point, actual temperature. And we will add this one. We will then scan this one. And we will link it to the actual mixing temperature from our simulator. No need to enable the output because it's going to be field information coming in. We will scan. Okay, we will now set the alarms. First of all, let's just check what we need to set these alarms. So we give it the range again, 4096. Our engineering span will be 45. High alarm in this case, 44. High alarm will be 25. Low can be 10, and the other one can be 4. Update. Okay. The alarm, we want to scan the high alarm. So what we do, we move it into the current, and we click OK. And we log. And what do we want to do with the log? We want to log this thing for a duration of, say, 1 day, and at the interval time of 1 second. Okay, we can start this, and it'll automatically start logging. Okay, so that's the analogs configured. Well, now let's create a project and a graphic form so we can in this step I want to show you how to add a project. So under our projects directory, we can either click on a new project here or a right click on projects and add a project from this one. So we can call the project test. Click OK. The test project will be formed, and by clicking on the project itself, we can then add a new graphic form. And we'll call this one My Batch. So now we have created a graphic form under the project test. Now we're going to add the controls and the displays that we've created in our configurator. We're going to add them to the graphic form now. So let's now add some controls to our graphic form, and these can all be found in the toolbox. Under the toolbox menu, there are various Windows forms that we can add, pointers, checkboxes, etc. Under vectors, there are other different kinds of displays that we can use. In our case, we want to choose some buttons under the vectors. So we highlight it, move it across, drag it, size it however we want to, and there we are, it's created. Editing is done by the smart tag in the top right hand corner. By clicking on that, we can then change the colors and text, etc., and rename the button. In our case, start batch. And we want a new behavior because we're going to have an operator action here, and we're going to be able to, or we want to be able to start the batch from here. So we need to link it to our database that we created. They can be found through using the browser. Data sources, Adroit agent group would give us all the types of agents we have. We then have a look for digital, and then we can see there we've got our start batch. So start batch, what do we want to do with this? We want a control action, and we want to be able to set our Boolean true. And there we are, click finish. We can then repeat the same for the reset alarm, or we can simply right click on our button, copy with behaviors, and paste. Right click again and paste. And all we do again is edit through the smart tag, rename it to reset alarm, and edit the operator action and change that dot element to our reset alarm tag, and done, finished. Save. And now if we want to run or test this one, we can choose the run button, and then we can have a look at what's happening in our batch OPC server, which is over here. And I see we've actually got an alarm present at the moment. So let's test the alarm reset button. There we go. The alarm has been reset and the process can start again. So if I just reset the process, I can then hit the start button, and let's see if we can start the whole system running. There we go. So our buttons are actually functional and working. We can now add some displays. So what we want to do is, from our Windows forms, we want to add some labels. Similar process, drag them across. Oh, we need to be in design mode first, remember that. Label, we want to have a label over here, and this label is going to be the name of it. We're going to put our set point in here, our mixing tank set point, and we're going to just change the text label to say set point. Okay, operator smart tag, we want to have a display value, and the display value is going to display our set point. So we need to have a look at our Adroit agent groups under analog and have a look at the set point, and we're going to display this in the format mix tank set point, and we can just put there degrees Celsius. Okay, we also here want an operator action because we want to be able to change the set point. So we click on it again, mixing tank set point, double click on the element name, and we want data entry. So we want to be able to change. And that is that done. We can add another label underneath it, and we can change this one to our actual value, our process variable. Change the label name to PV, have an operator action here, which is just going to be our display value. Our display value is going to be our process variable, and this is going to be our mix tank actual. Finish. So we can align these buttons a little bit closer to each other, and we can say save and run. So you see we need to make this one slightly longer. And there we have what the mixing tank and the set point is. So if we click on our mixing tank set point, we will bring up this menu and we will set a new value for you. And we can check this on our batch simulator. The alarm is still there, so let's reset the alarm. And we'll notice here that the set point is changed to 25, and now we're heating up to here we have it. Okay, so let's add an alarm viewer so we can view our alarms. Let us now add an alarm viewer to our graphic form. In the toolbox under Adroit, this is where you'll find the alarm viewer. Click on it, move the mouse across onto the graphic form and click. And there we are, it's there. We can size it, but in order for it to remain in the one position, let's dock it, and we can dock it to the bottom. So it'll be permanently at the bottom of our screen at all times. Simple, done, finished. Let's save it and we can run. And we can test it on our simulator. As you see, the alarm is actually there. We can then change our set point to lower than what the alarm setting is. Reset the alarm, and we'll see that the alarm will go green when the alarm is gone. We can then highlight, click on the alarm and acknowledge, and then the alarm will be taken out of the list. There we go. Let's now add a trend to our graphic form so we can display our set point and our actual values. So located in the toolbox under data, we'll find several chart types. Today we'll choose the line chart. Simply click on it and click again on the graphic form, and this will open up a configuration template. In order to choose the series or whatever trends you want to put in them, we'll change the first one to set point. We can choose a color for the graph. In this case, we'll choose a nice green color, and then we'll choose a value. So click on the browser, which will take us to our tags, and we want to have our set point. You can then fill in the rest for the minimum values in units if you need to use them any other way in your graphic form, and then click finish. In order to load another trend, you simply add a series. This would add the actual value, the PV. We'll keep the graph color blue. In the browser, we will then choose our PV value, and we can fill the rest of the tags in there and finish. just need to alter the height of the data legend. And then in order to keep the location constant, we will dock it to the right of our graphic form and press save. In order to view this now, we will go to the run mode, and there is our trend with our set point and our actual value being displayed. We can then change the set point to say 21, and we'll see immediately our set point would then change. Looking on our simulator, we will reset the alarm, and we will follow the process, and we will see our trend. There we go, the heating, the trend's now moving up. Okay, so one more little video to come, and what we're going to show you here is the difference between running in the designer mode and running in the operator mode. So before we start the operator, let me show you another one of Adroit Ignite's powerful features. In this case, I want to test something prior to deployment, which we can do very easily. Let me add a rectangle to our graphic form, and we want to use a percentage fill behavior on this tank, but we want to test it prior to actually going live. So let me click on the smart tag and add a new behavior called percentage fill. To save time, I've already configured an analog called batch weight, and we can add that in, and also we can change the minimum value to 0 or the maximum value to 25, or you can use the engineering min or the engineering max values that was pre-programmed in there. We can leave the color on blue, and we can save it from bottom to top. So we click on finish. Now, before we save, let's just run. So once we test through our batch process simulator, we can just see that our tank is filling or it's not filling, which is in this case is working fine. So let's do some alterations because I'm not happy with that tank. So we'll go back into the design mode. We will change our back color gradient setting from solid to gradient to give it more of a tank look and feel. And we can also do the same for the filling color, which we can also make a gradient fill. We'll leave it on dark blue, that's fine. Apply and OK. So let's test it again. So as you see, I'm not going to save again. I'm just going to hit the run button. And let's see if we're happy with this. Check against our process. And everything seems to be working correctly. So now let's go back to our enterprise manager, to our management, on our profile, and do a right click on the default and hit configure. Over here, for the operator settings, we will load the graphic form that we want to display in our operator. And in this case, it's going to be the My Batch form over here. So we can click on it. It'll show you, indicate the look of the graphic form, and we can click finish. And finish again. Then we can go back to the application launcher and run the operator. We log in with our default password. And as you can see here, we do not have our tank displayed on our operator. So let's go back to the designer, check to see if we're happy. In this case, maybe not. Maybe we want to have it a bit longer. And we can run it again. We'll say, right, that looks good. Now we can hit the save button. Once I hit the save button, this will then deploy the graphic form, and is viewable then on the operator. We can then check against our batching process from the simulator, and we can see that all is working here. There's an alarm. Let's reset the alarm. That's fine. Process continues. We can then change the set point. We can make the set point 26 degrees where we know we're going to get an alarm. We can monitor this on our graph as well. And some of the features of the graphs, you can actually zoom in to certain points in your graph or zoom out, so you get a better look and feel over a longer time period. There's our alarm that's coming up. We can then reset the alarm, change our set point back to whatever we want to, 21 in this case. Acknowledge the alarm. And done. So in conclusion, we've introduced you to our Ignite HMI software. We explained the application launcher. We did a brief run through of our built-in demo. And from first principles, we showed you how to create a new configuration, add a driver, scan alarm, etc., etc. So I hope you had as much fun watching as I had presenting. Thank you very much for joining us today. We will be doing a lot more of these webinars in the near future, showing you more of the highlight points of our Adroit software. Please send me your feedbacks, your comments, your questions to the numbers listed in the chat. Visit our website for more information, more videos. There's more educational, introductional videos there, and there's more documentation, product information, technical information, recommended hardware, etc., etc. Looking forward to receiving your feedback. Thank you very much.